Pepsi. So you would like to come to Italy, but you're worried about your budget. This video is intended to give you my personal tips on how to travel to Italy on a budget. Now, to be clear, it's for sure that coming to Italy is not an inexpensive, cheap trip. Any Western country will probably be a little bit costly to come to. However, throughout the years of coming to Italy during the summer for my holidays, I have learned some tricks on how I could save money, and I want to share them with you today. So let's dive in. First of all, your plane ticket. That is going to be a big part of your budget. And so try to aim at buying your ticket at the right moment of the year. Normally, I buy my tickets around January or February. I live in Canada, so that's the time when tickets for Italy tend to be a little bit more affordable for the following summer. And then also, I use points. So do your research and consider if a credit card with travel points on it is a good option for you, and make sure that you really research well, because some of them have fees, but they can be really great ways to save on plane tickets. I have used points numerous times to fund my plane tickets, so I really recommend looking into that.
In addition, you can subscribe for price alerts from various flight search engines such as Skyscanner, FareDrop, Google Flights, and many others. I like to use these tools to track prices and compare companies, but I also always double check the fares directly on the website of the airlines that the search engine suggests to see if the fares might be even better or the same from the airline directly, as opposed to going through a third party. If I have the choice, I will always choose to book directly with the airline, as I find customer service tends to be better when I book directly. Also, do not forget to calculate your checked baggage, as this will add cost to your overall flight price. If you can travel using only carry-ons, power to you. You will save hundreds of dollars, not to mention a lot of hassle. But if, like me, you don't feel able to fly that light, make sure you pay your checked bags ahead of time to avoid the extra, very frustrating fees of adding your bags last minute, which I have done. Budget travelers, pay attention. Something that will not appear in search engines are regional airliners, which could save you hundreds of dollars. There are two important elements here. First of all, flying into the largest, most popular airports of Italy is usually cheaper. For example, a flight going into Rome would cost several $100s less than a flight going into an airport such as Palermo or Bologna or even Bari, for example. So taking Bari as my example here, instead of booking my connecting flight with my international airline that would take me to Bari, I could purchase a ticket going into Rome with my international carrier and then buy my own regional tickets with an airline such as Ryanair for a fraction of the cost. So let me show you a quick example here in real dollars, just so you could see the price difference. Here I'm going to use Ryanair, and I'm going to put Rome to Bari. And as you can see, the flight going in to Rome, now you have to make sure that it works with the time of my other flights. So here, this flight here, departing at 12:50, that would be enough time for me to switch. And then on my way back, I want to make sure I get there in the morning. So I'm going to choose this fare here, which is a little bit more, but it's going to get me in on time. So it's going to cost me here 121 euros and 34 cents. So you could search in US dollars, but they don't have Canadian dollars. So because I want to compare apples with apples, I'm just going to convert. So for me, 121 euros is about 180 Canadian dollars. So with Ryanair for $181, my total fare going into Barrie would be $1,449 as opposed to $1,746. That is $300 almost that I would have saved if I booked my two flights separately. So as you can see, this is a lot of money saved. If you're flying as a couple, that is nearly $600 saved. Multiply that by however many people in your family you're traveling with, and that really adds up. The thing to really note here, though, is that you have to verify how much the checked bag allowance is with smaller charter flights. So for example, with Ryanair, I'm allowed 20 kilograms, and with my international carrier, I would be allowed 23. So there's several kilos difference in terms of allowance. So you want to make sure that when you are packing your bag, you're going to pack your bag for the smallest allowance possible in all of your flights. The thing to really note here is that you will have to check your bag in for your second flight yourself. So that means you have to go pick up your bag and recheck your bags in for your second flight with Ryanair in this example. So you have to make sure that you give yourself enough time to do this. And also, you're going to have to go through a little bit more hassle to be able to save this money. Even if you choose not to use this method for flying into your initial destination in Italy, you could certainly consider using these internal flights for going between regions or even into other countries of Europe, as you will inevitably save a lot of money on these kinds of smaller flights.
Number 2, transportation once you get here. Personally, I have found that the most economical and efficient way to get around Italy is by train. If you're a budget traveler, this is going to be your best bet for sure. Of course, there are places you will not be able to get to by train. For that, you could take a bus, but taking the bus requires a lot more scheduling, and sometimes there just are no buses to get to certain areas of Italy. So if your plan is to travel to Rome, Florence, Venice, the big 3, you can do that easily without any trouble by train exclusively. Other towns you could see by train include Assisi, Perugia, Bologna, Verona. You can go to the Cinque Terre. You can go even in certain parts of the south of Italy. This summer we are in Calabria. It has been challenging, but we've managed to travel only by bus and train. We've gone to Puglia, and there's a part of Sicily that you can also do by train. Like I said, if you really want to see parts that are not accessible by train, I understand. In that case, if you want to save a little bit of money, maybe you could rent a car for 3 or 4 days and go see the specific places you want to see that are not accessible by train or public transport. That way you will really reduce your transportation bill. Also, another thing you could do is rent a scooter. You could also try to find an Airbnb or an accommodation that provides bicycles, or rent a bicycle as well. Bobby and I traveled last summer to Puglia, and we were able to find an Airbnb that had bicycles in them, so we used them to travel along the coast. It was really fun. So it's another alternative to an expensive car rental. Another thing you can consider doing if you want to go outside of the city where you're staying but you don't have means to get there is to purchase an excursion package that takes you outside. We've even done excursion packages more than once on bicycles, and they were the most fun. So basically you just have a bike and the tour guide takes you out in the countryside or wherever it is on bicycles. That could be a lot of fun and an inexpensive way to get outside of the main city centers.